traditional deadlift or straight bar deadlift. So this is an exercise that a lot of people experience lower back pain on due to improper technique. And one way to keep from having that pain is to rethink about how you do the straight bar deadlift. Instead of treating it as a pull from the ground, try to think of it as a push through the ground. So pushing, using your energy to push through the floor in order to get that bar from the floor to the finished position at your thighs, okay? Also, you never want to hinge at your hips before your knees start to extend, okay? You don't want your hip joint, okay, to be the first joint to extend, okay? If you extend your knees first and then your hips, okay, that's also a negative, okay, because you are using your lower back muscles in order to complete the lift. Okay, you want to try to be gradual in both your knee joint and your hip joint as you're coming up with the weight. Okay. Another teaching point: you want to make sure your arms are like ropes the entire time. By that I mean, if you were to tie a rope to a weighted barbell and you held the ends of that rope, okay, there's not going to be any slack in the rope, right? So if you think about your arms being like a rope tied to that barbell and just hanging there, then that's how they should remain the entire lift. You don't want to jerk yourself into a deadlift, okay? That gets you in improper form, okay? Before you start, you want to make sure your arms are like ropes, okay? Your chest is going to stay big, so you're going to broaden your chest out, okay, making sure your back stays flat, okay? And you have to sink your hips at the bottom of the deadlift as well, okay? As you'll see here as I demonstrate, my hips are going to be really low at the bottom, not up high to where I'm, hinging at my waist and using my lower back to initiate the movement, okay? So this is the straight bar deadlift. The bar is going to stay close to your body the entire time. You don't want it to get out far from the body. You also would start with the bar on the ground as opposed to on the rack, okay? And anytime you pick the weight up off the ground, even if it's after your last rep, okay, you still want to make sure you use good form. A lot of people hurt themselves after they finish rep 10. They're trying to rack the weight and they don't use proper form getting the weight off the floor to the rack, and that's where the injury occurs. So just make sure, whether you're lifting up a barbell or lifting up your 50-pound kid off the ground, you always get yourself in proper position to lift from the ground up. So, straight bar deadlift.